11:50 p.m. on Saturday, September 27th, 2025. I just left a voicemail for the Greenville Group regarding the fact that over the last 45 minutes, there's been somebody repeatedly slamming and banging things against the wall behind this kitchen sink in the bathroom of 78. And now over the last 20 minutes, there has been intense and very disturbing smells of something literally burning in that bathroom. I was just in the hallway 5 minutes ago and there is no burning smell of anything in the hallway. This is coming directly from the bathroom of 78 that is not being legitimately rented and that is being kept vacant and empty by the Greenville Group for the purposes of allowing their very mentally disturbed homicidal psychopath and sex offender Jasmine Irizarry to continually access the bathroom behind this wall for the sole purposes of landlord-tenant harassment, of surveillance-based aggression, of very disruptive and disturbing activities and acts that are all surveillance-based and that are deliberately being engaged in for the sole purposes of disrupting whatever I have going on in this unit. Right now, there's an intense smell that is distinctly of burning paper. If anybody has ever smelled what burning paper smells like, there's an intense smell of burning paper coming from behind that wall. And because Unit 78 is vacant and empty, it's entirely possible that the fire alarm in Unit 78 doesn't work because nobody is in there to report whether or not it works. And the Greenville Group are negligent anyway, and they don't check on fire alarms. That only happens when somebody complains to the Inspectional Services Department, and then the inspector inspects the fire alarms in each unit. I have no idea if the fire alarm in Unit 78 works or not. So I'm going to call the fire department if the burning smell continues to fill this corner right here and to really disrupt what I am doing right now, which is basically lying on my bed trying to rest. It is almost midnight on a Saturday, and this started happening 20 minutes ago. And there's also been a very aggressive individual just repeatedly slamming and banging things in that bathroom. It is obviously some very dysregulated and dysfunctional behavior that has nothing to do with actually using the facilities in that bathroom for any occupancy-based purposes and needs. This is simply a staging ground that the Greenville Group is permitting psychopaths and sex offenders to access for the sole purposes of becoming very aggressive and disruptive and harmful against the walls that this unit shares with the bathroom of 78. Sitting behind that wall is about as close as any of these low-life trash are ever going to get to physically accessing my person. And they seem to have this obsessive need to come at me in whatever ways they can because they're a bunch of sex offender psycho trash who can't stay in their own lane and have issues with women. And they all have this like salivating obsession with women, like biological women. A number of these are malignant sex offenders who live in this building, such as Michael Collins, such as Jasmine Irizarry, such as Jason DaCosta. I don't know if he still lives in this unit on this floor, or I don't know if he still lives in this building. He used to live on this floor in Unit 88 next door, and he continues to make his presence now known around the building complex. These are all extremely disturbed, violent sex offenders who have deliberately become repeatedly violent, not just against the walls that my unit shares with theirs, but against my door, against my floor, against my personal possessions that they have vandalized, stolen, and deliberately wrecked on multiple occasions. And this is something that Irizarry continues to do on a regular basis. I have a pile of vandalized and damaged personal items and food items piled up on my table that have become vandalized and unusable over the last 10 days that show signs that Jasmine Irizarry not only is able to access the premises of this unit when I am not in here, but that she is obviously having knowledge of every single thing that I keep and that I need to use on a regular basis in this unit. And those are the items that she goes for instantly and literally either steals them or vandalizes them or contaminates them in some way or rips holes in them or damages them. And wow, there's something burning on the other side of that wall right there. There's something deliberately being burned. It smells like burning cardboard or burning paper. And if this continues, I will call the fire department. This is really hazardous. And it's not coming from the hallway. Do the math on that one. Unit 78 is being deliberately kept vacant and empty by the Greenville Group for the sole purposes of letting the sex offender psycho trash in this building intermittently access that unit whenever they feel the need to literally tapeworm against that wall back there, because this is as close as these pieces of shit are ever going to get to a physical female, apparently. I mean, they stand on the street corners for hours, like perving and creeping and shoving themselves up against women who walk by. And then they're being permitted to access the vacant premises, the bathroom behind that wall is some sort of whack-off chamber for BLM rejects who are simply just mentally disturbed sex offender psycho trash who have no lives and aggressively harass women all over the place because they're sex offenders and they're psycho trash and they're BLM activists. Yeah, there's one of those right behind that wall right now.